attention to the center of your chest, the right of the physical heart. This point is the spiritual heart, and from here we will chant Om. Take a deep breath. My teacher Dharma tells a really funny story. When he first started teaching in New York about 50 years ago, put up signs and no one would come, but he would just teach to the space. And then the first day that he had a real student, one woman came in and he was excited and he sat up nice and tall, closed his eyes and did the Om. And at the end of the Om, he opened his eyes and saw her running out of the studio. So I opened it and he ran away, but that wasn't too scary. So the question is feelings of depression, and this is huge. It can really, sometimes in yoga we think it's like all about being happy and positive and seeing the light. And when we discuss the causes of suffering in yoga philosophy, two of them are craving and aversion. And aversion is actually that sense of pushing down experiences that we don't want to feel or that we don't want to go through. So my own personal experience of depression is that is a state that kind of arises when I'm not allowing myself to feel my feelings. So if there's a feeling that comes up that the mind or the ego judges as, not being good or kind or loving, then it can get pushed down and stuck in the body. So the first tip I would say is to feel your feelings, no matter what they are: anger, sadness, jealousy, blame. Like, allow yourself to feel everything that arises in this field. And if you allow yourself to feel these experiences, it's said that a healthy emotion takes 90 seconds to be processed by the system. So if you really feel anger and rah in the moment when it happens, then that comes up and it goes out and you move on. It's just something that's moved through the field. But if that arises and then the mind judges it and you add on a layer of shame, oh, I shouldn't feel this, and begin to suppress it, then it can start to build up in your body and create a sense of numbness, or really anchor you in a lower energy. So I'm going to share some tips for me that have been useful in dealing with some of this and learning how to, obviously you don't want to unleash your anger on other people. But Dharma would even say, sometimes if you do, don't worry too much. Maybe it was their karma that they needed to learn something from that. So everything is teaching us something. And most of the things that we learn in life, we really learn in the challenging times and the difficult times in life. And we can think, oh no, I harmed that person, and then we're really judging ourselves and mean, but maybe you gave them a difficult experience that allowed them to learn and evolve in some way. And you can also learn and evolve in some way that you don't truly wish to harm someone. But most of the harm, I would say, is towards ourselves. So we hold these things in. We judge ourselves as being unworthy or bad or unlovable because these things arise. And they're actually just part of the experience. So in yoga philosophy, we also talk about the main cause of suffering is not jazz hands. It's that we don't know who we really are. So what we really are is this field of pure consciousness that's not touched by any experience. It watches, it's the observer of all these experiences. It watches things arise, it watches them pass away, and it's observing this sea of change. And the sea of change was created for joy, ultimately. That doesn't mean we experience joy in every phase of it, but we allow these experiences, these different emotions and sensations to arise in this field of consciousness. So behind whatever emotion we're feeling, there is this pure state that isn't touched by the emotion. and that's able to watch it and observe it. A good practice for doing this is I Rest Yoga Nidra. You can find a lot of these practices on YouTube, so if that's something that would be helpful for you, go into YouTube, I Rest Yoga Nidra. Richard Miller is great. I love Molly Burkholm. She also teaches that, and she has some free practices in YouTube that you can do. But that practice is really about getting into a state of just experiencing sensation in the body, and then noticing that there are different experiences that arise and pass, but behind them there's this field that's watching. And what we want to learn to do through our yoga practices is perceive life from that field. So instead of thinking we are the negative emotion, thinking we're bad, thinking we're this difficult thing, we're take a step back and we watch, oh, sadness is arising, and we watch it do its dance and we watch it go, and then something else arises. So we allow whatever is moving through to move through. And using the breath is a good one for this too. You can hold most of the stuck stuff tends to be in the lower 3 chakras. These are where our fears tend to be held. And you may notice that you don't breathe into your belly. So if you're really feeling heavy, like there's this depressed state coming to the body, why don't we do this right now? Hold your hands on your stomach, close the eyes, and really allow yourself to receive breath through the abdomen, and release breath. The way that a baby breathes, the whole abdomen receives, and then it releases. Keep breathing like this. If we start to watch the cycles of the breath, we can anchor in the present moment and feel whatever is there without judgment. It's judgment that makes things sticky, that holds them in us. So if you feel, I can feel there's a little anxiety in there right now. Whatever you feel in your system there, you can feel it as sensation or pulsation. And then see if you can observe what's behind that. With kindness. So self-compassion is another really important thing. There is an inner child in all of us that needs nurturing. We tend to look outside in life for other beings or people that will nurture that for us. We try to find it in partners, friends, but we are the ones that are meant to nurture it. So you can hold that too with an attitude of self-compassion. I'm here for you. I see this is really difficult for you. I see that there is, some fear, some anger, whatever it is, and let that be okay. Let your higher self hold the inner child and say, it's okay that you feel this. And I'm willing to be with you and to allow you to feel this as long as you need to. So you can open your eyes. You might need to sit with this a lot longer. But this, from my experience, has been one of the most important pieces of dealing with depression and stuck emotions, is actually having some kindness for myself and being like, okay, it's okay that you are extremely imperfect. It's okay, this is your nature, that this is arising. And realizing that that child inside needs to be held. It needs to be seen. And then when it is seen and when it is held, it feels free to express what's in it. And then that finally can move. And you can help it to grow up and maybe become a toddler or whatever the next thing is. So I know people say, oh, you're always smiling, you're always happy. I'm often smiling and happy, and a lot of this is I'm smiling and happier when I let myself feel my emotions. So just yesterday I had a big cry. I felt there was something in here, and then when I started doing my yoga practice, I felt it in my heart. I'm often not aware of what the emotion is at first, and then I was like, oh, I'm really sad that I can't go meet my new nephew now. So I have a new little nephew that was born on Friday, and I had planned this month, my schedule is open, so whenever he was born, I could go and meet the little guy and help out. And it was like, oh, okay, there's sadness there. So I allowed myself to cry. I allowed that energy to move through. And then I feel okay. I know that I'm going to meet him when I meet him, and maybe another wave of sadness will come, and if that comes, okay, zoop, zoop. So it's just like waves, letting the waves move through the body, riding with them, instead of trying to, no, you know that's not going to work out well. You're going to be tossed into the shore. So the first two tips I would say are feel the feelings. And if you feel numb, the state of depression is usually low or more numb. You don't even know what the feeling is. Sit with it and talk to the inner child. Say, I'm here for you. I'm willing to feel this. I'm here to listen to you. Let me know what you need. Trust is a big one. There's a Hafiz quote that says, this place where you are right now, God circled on a map for you. And it's the belief that all of us are here right now experiencing this because we're all meant to be here right now experiencing this because it will help us grow. So somehow this event, no matter how difficult it is going to help our hearts to evolve. It's going to help us move towards greater compassion, to living in community in a healthier way. And even the way we can see right now that the planet is healing, I think also we are healing by having this time. And this is an amazing time to, when can you do nothing, right? I know there's a lot of anxiety about doing nothing and what's going to happen to our finances and our career and all of these pieces. If you have the luxury where you can surrender for a couple months and live extremely simply, maybe let yourself do nothing and just take incredible care of yourself. And if you don't have that luxury, ask for help. That's huge too. Not feeling like, oh, I should know how to fix this. Ask for help. Ask for the resources you need. Ask people to help you. If you need guidance, ask someone who can give you guidance if they will. Everyone I find is really willing to help and to share right now. And that brings us closer together. It's actually beautiful. So Dharma always says everything is perfect. And really that we are, everything is happening to us according to our previous conditions. So we have certain conditions, and because of those conditions, we respond in a certain way, and that leads to more conditions. And everything is just kind of unfolding as it's meant to unfold, everything in the world of name and form. And trusting that this is moving perfectly, that there's some kind of divine intelligence behind the scene, that even though our own little eyes that are perceiving through this body, no way, right? It doesn't seem like this is possible, but imagining it from a higher perspective, that everything is perfect and that we're exactly where we're meant to be. I probably already said this in one of the other chats, but I love to watch ants walking on grass or leaves in the summer and trying to imagine, like, what would it look like if I had those ant eyes and I was on that little, a green thing? I would think the whole planet is green, right? You would probably just see, So whatever the limitations of our eyes, the limitations of our senses are affecting our ability to perceive reality. We can only see certain things with these eyes. You take out your eyes and put microscope eyes in, then everything is moving, right? You can take them out telescope eyes, you see, oh, the planet's very far. So these are limited to only see a small portion of reality. Our ears can only hear certain frequencies. And I remember before I started meditating, I couldn't feel any of the subtle sensations inside my body. I just felt the really hard ones, I felt pain in my muscles. I felt, the extreme ones. And then as you practice more with meditation, you start to become aware of the more subtle sensations. So all the yoga tools are techniques to help us purify the system so we can perceive more accurately, but really trusting that we're not perceiving everything as it actually is. We're perceiving it through through really funny glasses, and trusting that at the highest level, this is unfolding for love. I also think it's really beautiful right now. You can see lots of examples of love arising. And of course, you can see lots of examples of fear, right? But trusting that whatever you're experiencing right now, you're meant to experience it. And then if you can surrender to that and say, okay, I feel this right now, and let yourself feel it. Ask what it needs and ask for guidance. Instead of trying to man up and push through and bully yourself around into what you should do, actually listen to these emotions, listen to the kid, and give it what it needs. Another tip is not to take life too seriously. So we can sometimes, spiritual life, or any life, we can think, okay, we're supposed to do this, and we're getting to this end point. Our system can only be as purified as it is. It takes time, lots of time, many, many lives, if you believe in lives, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So trust that purification process is taking the time that it needs, just like eroding a riverbank. That takes time, right? We can't rush this. So you can't say to yourself as a little flower that's waiting to bloom, bloom! You can't try to pull the petals open. That's not going to help. So let it be how it is right now. And also make sure that you're giving yourself some time to enjoy life. Do some things that make you happy. Sing, dance, play, talk to strangers, yodel off your balcony, whatever it is that will, allow you to have fun. Do that. My teacher Dharma, he's very, very serious about the practice, but he often says, don't take it too seriously, don't take it too seriously. And he has this very silly techno song that he loves to play. And the last time I was there, it was a Wednesday night. It's more the beginner students. And the class, and he kept saying many times, don't take it too seriously. He plays this beautiful yogic music throughout the class, and then we did a half hour of yoga nidra, this deep relaxation. Everyone's peaceful. And then as they're getting up to leave the studio, he cranks this techno song and starts dancing. And I felt like that was his way of driving home the point. Don't take life too seriously. So trust that you're going to evolve as you're meant to evolve, and you can't rush it. Don't have high expectations on yourself that you're meant to be anything different than you are. Okay. What else? Diet. So whatever we eat, this becomes our body. So there are some foods that will make you feel more depressed and stuck in your body. And of course, these are the foods that we crave when we're feeling depressed, right? When you're feeling really low, they call it tamasic in yoga. When you're just kind of low and you have this no energy, you kind of want to just have a lot of pizza and sit on the couch and eat all these heavy foods that numb out the body. But we know that we need to actually move things in the other direction. So really starting to nurture your body with really healthy food will help. And the food that we eat has an effect on your mind. If you're someone who experiences a lot of anxiety, I love coffee. It's my number one vice. But I'm off coffee until this situation ends because I realized, the coffee, I can feel it in my meditation that it adds a little bit of this behind the scenes in the subtle vibration. And my sleep is more sound now, and it's helped decrease anxiety for me. It'll be different for everyone. That's not true for everyone. Some people, I wish I was them, can have coffee. It's no problem. But whatever, you can tune into your body and ask, what foods am I feeding you right now that are keeping you in this state? How can I better serve you to help you feel more loved? And so really feed it the best that you can. The food is also not just what we eat, physical food. Food is all of the content that we're taking in. So if you're always watching things that put your body into a state of hopelessness, sadness, depression, that's also food. That's food for all of your senses. So try to watch some things that lift you up and elevate you, that make you laugh, that make you happy, that inspire you, and play, okay? The practice of bhakti yoga, there's 4 main paths of yoga. The first one, the path of action, is karma yoga. This is the one that's recommended for most of us, is learning to do our actions without attachment to the outcome. So just serving. All of us have some kind of unique gift that we're meant to share, and we're not meant to judge or evaluate whether it's a good gift or whether it's very useful, because we can't actually see how useful our gifts are. You could have a gift that seems really, really small that you're contributing in this life. In 500 years from now, that was actually the action that led towards something very beautiful that helped us move forward. Whereas an action that's seen as, someone who's seen as very successful now and something to strive for could actually be acting in a way that's not moving us forward. So you don't know. Whatever your gift is, you just share it. We all have something that we're meant to contribute. So contribute however you think your voice is meant to contribute, and don't worry about the results. So all of us are part of one big organism. We're not actually separate. It looks like we're all separate, but we're really one of this. And bhakti yoga, the second path of yoga, this is the path of yoga. They say when you can't do anything else, bhakti. Bhakti is the path of devotion. So chanting is a piece of this. You don't have to chant. Yoga kirtan chants are really nice. You can find lots. Krishna Das on YouTube is one of my favorites to chant with. It's very fun. You might want to dance to it. You can sing anything, whatever, just joy, using your voice in a joyful way. Yodel, make some random sounds. Devotion is also, it's dance, anything creativity, walking in nature and really seeing everything. I noticed the other day, walking through the grocery store, now that we have to shop so slowly, I actually have to pause and notice things and take time for others. I can't just go in with my fast brain and be motor out and not notice anything. And I've translated that into my walks outside in nature. I realized, I used to just blast through nature and never really stop and say, hey tree, you're amazing. And actually take a moment to breathe and be with the tree and allow yourself to feel connected to nature, because the physical body actually is part of nature. When we die, this thing goes back to the earth and will turn into something else, and the soul will go and find a new form and continue and continue and continue. So bhakti yoga, practice of devotion, very helpful when you're feeling depressed and feeling those lower energies coming in. I also read yesterday, there was a post of, you can't hug people right now, hug trees. And I'm like, that's a great idea. I had that instinct the other day, and then I was in front of someone's house. I'm like, this might be too weird for them, but I think I'm just going to push through that weirdness today. Give a tree a nice hug, right? This is a really great time to not worry about what other people think, which is actually a better way to live, it's not in a harmful way, but I think if we all actually expressed more honestly and openly with our hearts, it would be a more fun, joyful place to live. And a lot of depression is that pushing down and trying to be someone other than who we're actually programmed to be. So let yourself be who you are, let yourself feel what you feel, have incredible self-compassion. This is lacking in the Western world, so do something to begin cultivating self-compassion. And think of right now as, learning to be your own best friend, your best partner in life. Really take care of yourself the way that you would take care of someone that you really, really love, right? So doing that for yourself. And then the last piece I would say, of course, ask for some help, right? So I am not an expert, and sometimes there's levels of depression where you'll need to talk to someone and get some guidance or get some help, or even talk to your friends. Sometimes there's a shame about dark emotions, so we don't want to tell someone else. But it's really helpful to actually talk to someone and witness it. One of my good friends a couple weeks ago, I woke up and I was feeling a little, and I didn't really notice, and then she had sent me a text, "Are you okay, for real?" And as soon as I got the text, I started to cry, and she had a dream that I wasn't doing well. In the dream I was saying, "I'm not doing well, I'm not doing well," something like this. But then just talking with someone, it really helps us to remember that we're not alone, that we're all part of this one beautiful creation. So we all are doing our parts to keep things going. So I hope that was helpful. Any of you who need or would love to have a little more one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but closer guidance, on Monday I'm starting a small coaching group. So Living Yoga Coaching. It'll be at 9:30 Central Time on Monday mornings. And we're going to have an hour talk on Zoom. And we're going to talk about some aspect of yoga philosophy that we can use to navigate this time with a more open heart, and have the support of a group of people that's wanting to do this work together. So if that's something you'd like to do, we're starting on Monday. You can email me, samtheyogi@gmail.com, and I can give you info on that. And I'm also going to keep doing these free chats on Instagram. So lots of love to all of you. If anyone has any last little question or anything you need to say, you can go ahead and write it. And if you know someone that any of this info would be useful for, please share it. Okay? Namaste.